deep and narrow, sometimes with a creek or river at the base, is referred to as a gorge. And immediately a boy raised his hand and said, well, that is not how my grandmother uses it. We have Sunday dinner with her every Sunday, and maybe she has olives on the table, and she'll say to me now, don't gorge yourself on the olives. Maybe she has leftover Halloween candy. Don't gorge yourself on the candy. Maybe she has nuts out. Don't gorge yourself on the nuts. We're going to have dinner in a half hour. Don't gorge yourself. So I told the young man, well, in English, there's many words that are polysemous, meaning that they have more than one meaning. And gorge is a polysemous word, has more than one meaning, and here's how your grandmother's using it. And I used the diagram. Pretend that you have a inner gorge from your throat down to your esophagus to your stomach. And what your grandmother's saying is don't fill it up. Don't gorge yourself on those nuts. Don't gorge yourself on it. Don't fill yourself up. And actually, I was very proud of myself because when I was putting this away at the night, I said, gosh, you used a diagram who had two different meanings of gorge. Ooh, so good. You got to reinforce yourself because not all seventh graders are coming up and saying, my God, that was good teaching. Okay, the next word is what, everyone? Miniature. Miniature is another example like execute, where the students already have an example, one word in their repertoire, and we want to connect it there. So, everybody, what word? Mini. So, in our neighborhoods, we often have a mini market. And is it large or small? Which one? Everyone? Small. We might see someone wearing a mini skirt, but in 70 years, not one on me. And a mini there, does it mean long or short? Which one, everyone? Short. If you went out on Halloween and they gave you a tiny candy bar, they would say it is a, what, everyone, a mini. So is it large or small? Small. So we could make a good guess that in this word, which is miniature, say the word, miniature. Say it again, miniature. Put your hand on your lap, slow it down and say the parts. Miniature. Again, miniature. That miniature might mean something that is large or small. Which one? Small. So again, connecting it to what you already know increases the possibility of retention, reduces the amount of time it takes to teach. It's very useful for us to do this. The next word is what, everyone? Defeated. Sometimes, again, the environment tells you if you have to teach it. So I was teaching in Tacoma, Washington, south of Seattle, and it was the year that the University of Washington did something that no team has ever done in the Pac-10. They lost every game. We're talking every game. Even the 2 preseason games that you set up so you look good, they lost them. Like at Boise State, we didn't even know they had a football team. It was bad. Now, the University of Washington did come back last year much better, but that was a bad year. It was the same year that the Sonics, the basketball team, left Seattle. And that you could get Mariner tickets for free. They gave them away. So I thought the children had mastered defeated. So I just skipped it altogether. The next word is what, everyone? Deperation. Big idea. When you teach vocabulary, you should always teach the easiest member of the family. Now, none of the materials do that. They always tell you this is the word, how it's used in the text. But that is not what you should do. So whisper to your partner what word I might teach. Instead of desperation, whisper to your partner what I might teach. Again, we still have to work on whispering, but everybody said desperate. And that's exactly what you would do. So, be my students, this word is desperate. What word, everyone? Desperate. When you need something, and you really need it, and you need it right now, you would say you are what, everyone? Desperate. When you need something, and you need something right now, you are what, everyone? Desperate. For example, if you did not have your water bottle and your backup water bottle in the desert, then you would be what, everyone? You would be desperate. And we would say that you are in a state of what, everyone? Desperation. This is really important because one day I was asked to teach, this happens all the time, but I was asked to teach piteously in second grade, piteously, because it was critical to the story that was going to be read to them. You would not teach piteously, you would teach pity. So you teach the easiest word in the family. Next word is supervising. Kids in 8th grade have had many a supervisor, like skip it altogether. And next you have what, everyone? Amplify. See, I'm teaching 8th graders. I said to myself, they may not know amplify, but they certainly know amplifiers. And so I said, connect it to what they already know. So this word is what, everyone? Amplifiers. If you went to a concert and the band wanted everybody at the concert and in the city to hear them, they would use what, everyone? Amplifiers. And the amplifiers would make the music, what, everyone? Louder. And so we could guess that one meaning of amplify is to make louder, but also it is to make more, to exaggerate. So if you went fishing and caught a fish this long, but by the time you got home to tell the story, it had grown, then you would amplify the story. So to make more or to make louder is to what, everyone? Amplify. Again, connecting it to what they already know. Next word is what, everyone? Imperial. Imperial. Now, again, I taught that word, and the reason I did is because, and there's much that you could generalize from it. Imperial, imperialism, imperialistic, imperialistically. That means I'm going to get a lot out of that word. I'm going to teach it. And the next word is what? Emerge. And we just said came out of, simple. Next word is insult. Insult. See, I could tell right away by looking at your papers, so some people said they were going to teach insult, and they definitely were not middle school. See, middle school teachers and principals here would know they've mastered insult. I told them when you diss someone, you insult them, the end. And the next word is what, everyone? Deposit, which wasn't critical to comprehension, so I skipped it. And the last word is deadline. I already taught you how to teach a compound word, so think about how you might teach it. And ones, teach the word deadline to your partner and go. Hey, thank you. So I heard more than one option. This was how I taught it. First, of course, we read the parts. It's a compound word. The first word is what, everyone? Dead. The next part is line. And then I went right to left and told them the meaning. So a deadline is a line in time where if you don't finish that project, you are dead. Okay? But then I did tell them the origin of the word, and again, it's information that students were interested in because it goes back to World War II, where in Germany, when they found and captured POWs, prisoners of war, they didn't take them away to a prison, but rather they dug a trench in a circle in the forest. The prisoners went in the interior, and outside of it went the guards. You step over the trench, and boom, you are dead. Thus was the origin of the term dead line. It was a line in terms of a trench. Would students sometimes be interested in the origin of words? Yes or no? Yes. And so I tried to get them interested in words. And by teaching them that some of them have very interesting histories, we could do that. All right. So, would you turn over to your next slide? And we're going to do one last one. And again, why would we spend time on this? Is basically because the research has shown that selection of the words are the most critical aspect and vocabulary instruction. So, looking on slide 42, this was a day that I taught 8th graders social studies. And I want you to look at this whole list and circle 3 or 4 words that would be worth in-depth instructional time. Okay, when you're done, would you compare those to your partner? And remember that you might not have exactly the same, but you use the same thinking about the words. You made very good decisions. Again, I'm going to give you feedback, but realize that it's not the absolute answer, but the same kind of thinking. The first word was what, everyone? Comparison. I didn't see it circled on anybody's paper. This would be easy to explain. We're talking about a person here who's running for office, perhaps, and they're from our area, and they're not really in our family, but we still call them what, everyone? And we really want them to get elected because they are our favorite. That end. And the next word is what? Majority. And many of you, like I would assume that most 8th graders would know majority would be 50% or more. But some of you decided to teach plurality, and I did too, because plurality, though majority might be known, plurality might not be known. And it was like fairly critical, because they were going to read about Andrew Jackson. I had to make a discernment, not Michael. And that Andrew Jackson, when he first ran for office, there were 3 candidates running, and he got the most votes. He got the plurality, but he did not get the majority. So then the House of Representatives had to pick the president, and he was not picked, even though he had most of the votes. So they had no plurality. And then after I taught it, then I realized I could have taught it rather quickly because its root is plural. Plural means more. More. And so plurality means you had more votes. Oh God, it could have been done really quickly. But sometimes it's only in retrospect you realize you could have done it better. And mudslinging, what kind of word, everyone? Compound word. So we read it. What's the first word, everyone? Mud. Next part is slinging. And so this is slinging, what, everyone? Mud. So if I'm slinging, I'm throwing mud. but it is not literally mud. It is insults, put downs that I am throwing. And we often use this when we talk about politicians and their response to other politicians, that they engage in mud slinging. They throw insults and put downs and name calling. We've seen so much of this recently. A lot of what, everyone? Mud slinging. That's the end of it. And landslide, quickly done. Nominating convention. Most of you said, well, nominating, they mean that I'm going to say you should run for office. And a convention is where we get people together to learn information or to do something together, so that they are, a group of people are coming together to nominate. So that's all. Now, you could have selected any other remaining words, and most of you did. Because it's possible that they do not know what, everyone? Terror. I taught suffrage because they might confuse it with suffer. In fact, one day I was at University of Virginia, and they were having at the university, they were having a street fair. And in the psychology department, they had this big sign, let's get rid of suffrage, donate here. In a big bowl, which filled up before the end of the day. They wanted to see if adults understood the meaning of that word. They kept the money. Suffrage is not suffer. Suffrage is, of course, the right to vote. And I taught secede because during Andrew Jackson's first term, that's when Texas started movement towards seceding from the Union. And if you visit Texas today, you'll still see signs, secede from the Union. It will never happen. We again made very thoughtful decisions. But is it possible that this social studies book did a pretty good job, but taught too many words, so we cut it down to ones we could do in depth. So we would also have a routine, just as we had one for facts review. 4 words. I want the students to, what, everyone? Attend. I need to have everybody. Okay, attend, intend, have them rehearse, and have them retrieve. And when we taught skills and strategies, the instructional team was, I do it, we do it, you do it. So here we went through many studies that taught vocabulary. People's work like Isabel Beck and Michael Graves. And extrapolated from that a routine that could be used whether I'm talking kindergarten or I'm talking high school. Where first I would introduce, for those selected words, I would introduce the words, what, everyone? The pronunciation. I would then introduce the, what, everyone? The meaning. I would then introduce, illustrate it with some examples, and then I would ask questions to check their understanding. So we're going to keep us all totally alive, we are going to teach a simple word and a more complex word. The first one we'll teach together. So on the day that I was teaching in bird penguins, the word that we had to have was protect, and all the relatives: protecting, protection, protector. And so first we introduced the words, what, everyone? Pronunciation. And everybody teach them up with me and go. This word is protect. What word? And the students would say protect. Continue. Tap and say the parts of the word. Protect. Again, protect. A reminder that if the students don't have the pronunciation, they can attach meaning to it, store it, and retrieve it. And we also then want to introduce the, what, everyone? The meaning. And one way is to give them a student-friendly explanation. So, teaching it with me, and go, everyone. To protect someone or something means to prevent them from being harmed or damaged. So when we keep someone from being harmed or damaged, we protect them. Good job. Now we're going to illustrate it with some, what, everyone? Some examples. There's 3 kinds of possible examples. One would be something that is Concrete. So you can bring an object to class. And I actually can remember very few times I've ever brought an object to class. One day though, I was in San Diego at a hotel, and that day, right before Halloween, I was teaching the book, the read aloud book, Pumpkin, Pumpkin. Yep, a very serious book about the life cycle of the pumpkin. From the seed to the sprout, to the plant, to the flower. It was a thriller. And in it, one of the words they needed was vine. And when I stepped out of the hotel, there was a wall covered in vines. I just leaped up and took one to class. Is it perhaps easier to learn it from the actual vine than it would be from a picture? Yes or no? Yes. Very seldom, though, you're going to have that opportunity. But we could make it more concrete by doing gestures. And so, everybody put your bowl up there and your hand here. And so we're going to add some cream, and that cream is an ingredient. Okay? And so we could use gestures to make it more concrete. We could also utilize visual examples. Now this is where you should all be thankful that you are an educator right this year, because 50 years ago we did not have personal computers. Thus we could not like Google pictures. No. My sister, speech and language therapist, we would get together on Saturdays and bring magazines. And we would cut pictures out of the magazines. We would glue them down, that's before we had glue sticks, on cardboard. And then we would put contact paper over it. That's before we had lamination, just so we could hold up a picture. Now we're in the no excuse time. That all we have to do is Google, pick a picture, move it over to PowerPoint, and we're looking good. Would that be of use to our English language learners? Yes or no? Yes. But you have to remember, every child in every seat in your class is an English language learner. Every child is an English language learner. Not a million words to potentially learn. I'm not even close. And they need about 80,000 words before they go to community college and college. Well, then all of them are learning English. And so we could use visual examples or simple verbal examples. So, visually, be my students. So we're going to be reading about emperor penguins. And read the bullet with me and go. This father penguin will protect his chick from harm. So in the emperor penguin family, it is the father that protects the egg and then the subsequent chick, and actually spends many months protecting this chick without eating. 3 to 5 months without eating. Woo woo, good job, Papa. Now, here is a common use of the word protect, and read it with me, everyone. This special car seat will protect the baby if there is an accident. He is less likely to be hurt. So, teacher taught, so we could use examples that were concrete, we could use visual examples, or simple verbal examples. So going to 49 and teach it with me and go. The father penguin takes care of the egg after it's laid. He protects the egg. And everyone, human parents try to protect their children. And so we have introduced the pronunciation of the word. We've introduced the meaning of the word. And we are going to also check students, what everyone, their understanding. And so, be my students. Read the question here and go. What are some ways that human parents can protect toddlers at a park? And so I want you to think, if we were at a park with little ones, toddlers, how could we protect them? Thinking. And first ones, then twos, you're going to tell your partner your answer, but you're going to start with saying, and read it everyone, at a park, partners can protect. So teacher mistake, oh, we have to do it again, forgive me, and go. At a park, parents can protect toddlers by. First ones and twos using the sentence starter. Tell your partner and answer and go. Okay, look at me when you're both done. And looking here, stand and deliver your answer. Listening.
At a park, parents can protect toddlers by walking close to them.
Walking close to them. Excellent. Stand and deliver.
At a park, parents can protect toddlers by staying with them.
By staying with them. And last one over here. Dress up, stand and deliver.
At a park, parents can protect toddlers by watching them.
Excellent. Now, you'll notice that through these 2 days that I've often even used sentence starters with you. Okay, and there's a number of reasons. But so you were thinking one reason that one way the parent might protect the child is what do you do? Holding their hand. Okay, and you just did that perfectly. That's what kind of answer we normally get, but notice she did not use the word protect. The major reason for using sentence starters is to force children to actually use the content we are like teaching them. And so I use them all the way through high school, but I teach the kids there to take the question and themselves turn the question into part of the answer. One, they'll have complete sentences, but more importantly, they'll actually be rehearsing the information we want them to learn. So it is much more critical than we've given it in energy in terms of the past. Okay, well, I could also have you discern between examples and non-examples. So get ready to tell me protect or not protect. So a parent is with their child at the park. And the parent is looking at their phone and doing some emails and occasionally looking up. Protect or not protect? Which one, everyone? Not protect. A parent is at the park with their child, and the parent actually plays with the child, particularly watching them on the equipment. Protect or not protect? Which one, everyone? Protect. Okay. Now notice there, that is sort of the same big idea. I could have asked a question like, so a parent is at the park and plays with their child. Did that parent protect that child? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, okay? The problem there is you're not using the word protect. So we want to be certain that the students are actually rehearsing the critical information. So it was changed into protect and not protect. Those are little things, but they're not little things in terms of learning. Okay? So I could also have you generate ideas, like make a list of how a human parent might protect a toddler. So, but go over to 53. This is a big idea, and that is, if the word is a member of a related family of words, then if I want to expand their vocabulary, I should introduce the relatives. And so I'm not just going to teach protect, I'm going to then introduce what, everyone? Protecting and protection and protector. Now in these words, you see protect, 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 but you also hear the meaning of protect is through all of these words. And you also have the pronunciation, protect, protecting, protection, protector. And that is, so there's three possibilities that you have the same spelling, you have the same pronunciation, and you have the same meaning. However, English is the only language in which, in many cases, one of those attributes is missing. That the family of words may have the same spelling and the same meaning, but not have consistent pronunciation. This is a very sad story. And so, for example, one day in the elementary school, 3rd grade, I think, we had the words wild and wilderness. And so the children didn't think that those were related words at all when they heard them because they do not sound alike until we wrote down wild and wilderness. Then they could see, these are related words. I was teaching in high school, social studies, the Reformation. We had reform and reformation. And so just hearing them, you might not think that they were related until you saw them. Reform, reformation. Same spelling, same meaning, but not same pronunciation. That same day we had Catholic and Catholicism. Only the 3 Catholics got it. Then we had Protest and Protestant. None of the Protestants got it. Obviously, they had missed out a little church history because, of course, they were originally called Protestants. And then over time, the pronunciation was altered to Protestants. So I think there's a lot of Protestants that don't know there was a little protest that occurred. And so this thus becomes really important for our students. If we wanted to optimize the expansion of vocabulary, is introduce the relatives. Okay, well, I think here we have the actual routine. And you're thinking, well, what happened to the gestures? Well, I just haven't introduced them yet. So first we introduce the pronunciation. Then we introduce the words meaning. And then we illustrate it with some examples. So this is the meaning. We illustrate it with examples. And then we check their understanding. We check their understanding. So first we introduce the words pronunciation, then we introduce the words meaning, then we illustrate it with some examples, and then we check their understanding. Perfect. Now, because of time, I'm going to end with us watching a little video to see this in action, all the things that we've talked about. But here is another example. I was teaching the word compulsory in a middle school. And first I'd introduce the words, everyone? Pronunciation. Then I would introduce the meaning. I could use a student-friendly explanation, but in the research on domain-specific vocabulary, oftentimes, particularly in the upper grades, it is more useful to introduce the term and then bullet out the critical attributes that would make that, in this case, an industrial revolution. And so it is social and economic changes that happened in these locations around 1750 when we started making products not in homes but in factories. And all of those would have to be in place for it to be industrial revolution. And we could also enhance it if there are meaningful morphographs, meaningful parts of the words, prefixes, suffixes, and roots that we could attend to. So one day when I was teaching autobiography, I thought, ooh, perfect opportunity to teach auto. I was in Detroit. And it was so interesting because the kids did not know the meaning of auto. They did know automobile. It was called a automobile.